Hello, good evening, and welcome to Winners and Losers from the LFC Daytrippers. I'm Gav, that's Seany, Phil, and Dicko. And usually every Monday we have a look back at the weekend's football and we pick some winners and losers. A little bit different this week because it was International Week. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to look forward to what the lads think maybe ultimately be the best winner and loser come the end of the season. We're going to get this done in an hour because I genuinely could fall asleep if we go any further than that. So let's.
You say that every week, Gav.
No. Yeah. We are. I'm not fucking around this week. I could just go to sleep at about 11 and leave you to it. Ring me missus and tell her to knock off the field when you are done. Yeah, so we're going to look at it. We're going to go through. The lads are going to pick a winner each and a loser each. Looking forward to the end of the season, who ultimately could be the winner or loser of the season. Before we get into it, though, Seany, Will Smith gave your man a slap earlier in the Oscars. Set up or no set up?
No, I don't think it was a setup. I just think he's a sap. I don't think it was a setup, to be honest. He's a bleeding sap, though. It's like all the men in the world can ride me wife, but just don't call that baldy.
Right, okay. Okay.
Listen, I'm telling that as a bleeding is.
Fair enough. Phil,
Set
up or no set up?
It was like a shit version of wrestling, to be totally honest with you. It didn't even look like a real slap. Like, seriously. Sure, Will Smith's breaking his heart laughing.
Sound effects like the old Batman when he hit him.
Kapow. Honestly, it was awful.
But not a setup for you.
No, definitely a setup. 100% setup. 100% setup.
I think it's a setup as well.
The reason why I think it's a setup is here's the reason why I think it's a setup, right? So, Will Smith sitting there and Chris Rock cracks the joke and he breaks his bollocks laughing, right? And he looks over and his missus is giving him. No, remember in rehearsal he got up and gave him a smack and yeah. And then he walks up on the stage and hits him the worst looking smack ever. The force it was there going like it just doesn't even look real. And then when he's walking back, he's breaking his heart laughing. It's like the fella could have been facing charges for assault if he really did it. So no, I'm not having a complete setup. They were trying to change the whole Oscars. The viewership is dying on its arse. Nobody cares. They keep picking pictures that movies never even see. And let's be honest with you, it's bit like I think movies as a concept is dying because of the high quality type of mini series and series that are being produced by all these new studios in terms of like Apple and Netflix and all that type of stuff. And no, I'm just. This is just to try to keep the Oscars relevant when it's just no longer relevant to the real world. It'd be a bit like social media doing awards.
Yeah. And I don't even think that's one of Phil's edgy takes. I do feel like that there is some sort of there is some sort of truth in that because it's well documented that the Oscars is on its arse. It just has been even. It's become more of a political thing now more than anything else, hasn't it?
It's become more edgy over the years, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's so pretentious and wanky now. Like they don't even try to hide it.
It would. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure it was a setup. I think the slap or whatever. Like a VAR at Stockley Park would have been in order, I think, just to see what that was all about.
Just connection.
Just to see how the connection was. Like, surely if he was that offended, he could have decked him quite easily. Could have decked him. So it's a bit of a head scratcher why he goes for the slap, and the fact that he's obviously an actor. Would lend a bit of kind of credence with the fact that it could easily have been a setup, but my gut says it wasn't.
I think it was all day. Veranda Cheese says that the LAPD dusted Chris Rock's face for evidence and found fresh prints. So there you go.
Wow.
Nice joke from Veranda Cheese there. We've got me and Seany will absolutely hammer him in the Xbox party from about 11:15 onwards.
He's not even coming in now after that.
He won't. He disappear. He pretend he's, I don't know, he's going off to do something.
Did anyone see, Gav, on that, did anyone see the Clint Eastwood thread that's been doing the rounds today?
No.
No, it's not that he did anything at the Oscars or something.
Oh, he didn't slap anyone or anything, right? Okay.
No, but they're just doing a range of his movies which have seemed to lead to violence, to different communities in America, like American Sniper led to violence against Muslims. Not falling down. What was the one that he did with the car? It was called a car or something. Gran Torino, that's the one. Right, it was Gran Turismo. But that led to a spate of violence against Asians in America, right? And then there's a shot of from the 1972 Oscars where Marlon Brando sent up a Native American actor to ask them to stop portraying them a certain way in film and stuff like this, right? And she's booed and heckled going up on stage, right? So like this is like the difference between nowadays and then. She's completely booed and heckled by the actors, not even by like the public or anything. Booed and heckled. John Wayne is trying to get up and knock her out, right? And then she gets up there, stays her speech. She comes off the next award that goes up there. Clint Eastwood comes up and takes the piss out of her, says this award is for all the cowboys that were shot in the movies over the years. Just like, imagine nowadays. I was just looking at it going, the complete difference in the way society's gone is just mental, where it was just a woman asking for some respect towards Indigenous Americans, and also whatever protests at the time were happening at Wounded Knee, because that's obviously a site of an atrocity that was carried out against them as well. Anyway, I won't go into that's a different podcast I'm on, where I'm sort of me and P look after that one.
Okay. Yeah, I look forward to that. Winners and losers, end of the season. Who you feel could be the ultimate winner and the ultimate loser come the end of this season? It can be a football club, player, team, organisation, whatever you want it to be. Seany, let's go with your winner. Who you think could be the ultimate winner of this season?
The ultimate winner?
Yeah.
You can't look past us, really. Like, let's be honest. It's building up now towards winning probably another 2-3 trophies, which is completely possible. And it's weird in a way that it doesn't seem to be like a mad pressure on us sort of. I don't think there's a pressure on us to do it. I just think it's kind of something to reach. But like, if we had to do it, like, look, I'm not saying I don't really care. If you told us tomorrow we weren't going to win the FA Cup, I'm not going to lie to you, I wouldn't really care. Honest to God. But if you were to win the double of a Premier League and a Champions League off the back of playing how we have in the last 2-3 years, like, people were going on about Liverpool not doing their best to create a legacy. That would be a legacy defining season for Klopp if he was to go on and do it. It's absolutely mad. And the thing is, City can do a treble, but they should have done that years ago. Like, with the money that they've spent, they should have done that years ago. They've completely cheated. They don't even hide it anymore. And the fact that we even have a dog in this fight, how well the club is run, how much of a disadvantage we're at in terms of financial, like, literally, it's mental that we could literally be we could end City season in a week and go on and create history. And they could very well do it to us. But if they were to do it to us, nobody really give a fuck, would they? It's the same reason why everybody wants us to not win the league, and you don't really care if City wins it, because you don't have to listen to anybody if City do.
It feels like a nothing season if City win it to everyone else.
It
feels like a bit of heartache for everyone else if Liverpool do it.
It's par for them, and I think, like, coming off the back of last year and how it played out, and kind of this what we went through, it was traumatic, sort of, really, in a way, like, in terms of the injuries and no fans and Klopp's situation and Alisson's situation off the pitch. To go on and win it all now would absolutely be met. Honestly, you could kind of if we were to win the Champions League and the league in this one season, I'd happily take next year off, to be honest with you. Have to play it. And no, honestly, like, I will kind of go into next year going, do you know what? I actually couldn't give a fuck what happens, because that last 12 to 18 months was absolutely mental, and it's highly unlikely that you're going to see anything like this again. So I think the ultimate winners, it's hard to look past us, to be honest with you. I think anything else would really be, I don't see anybody else in the position to go on and actually make history like we do, because if City were to do it, like I said, nobody would really give a fuck, because it's gone past bending rules now. They don't care.
They feel to me, Seany, a bit like they're everybody's get out clause. You know, like if Liverpool were to win 3-4 trophies, people would be going, fucking bastards winning all them. Whereas City knock Liverpool out, people would be delighted. And then if City won it, people go, fuck, wasn't bothered, didn't watch Champions League final at the weekend. You know, the interest in them is I think it's just appalling.
Chelsea were a bit like that early doors when they suddenly had all the money and they started winning leagues and that, and then obviously the kind of the rivalry formed and it grew from there. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. Like City, they're just a convenient get out for so many clubs who are underachieving at the moment.
I think they are. Seany said you can't look past Liverpool if they were to go and do this. So I'll ask Dicko and I'll ask Phil. We're facing into April, and we're facing into a huge April, like it will define. It literally will define the season, because come the end of it, you'll know where you are, and it really like at the back end of all these competitions. Dicko, I won't ask you, can you look past Liverpool as being the ultimate winners, but what chance do you give us of winning these 3 remaining trophies?
Well, I think it's an unbelievable chance. I mean, Seany talks about taking next season off. Unfortunately for me, I decided to take this season off when it came to my season ticket. I mean, all the years I've been going to Anfield,
you're a sap.
I chose this one to sit it out for good reason at the start, but now it's.
Is there any chance of you ringing Anfield like 3 games before the end when they have a chance to win everything? Oh, listen, I was only messing. Did you take
I'll
that?
pay the full season ticket price.
There's 1,500 quid if I could just go to these last 2.
Give me my seat back and then chuck out whoever's managed to steal it for the last 16 games. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, really. You think about all the years, you follow Liverpool, you go to the game, and never ever been in this situation, where we're fighting on all of these fronts. Obviously, one trophy, and it's I mean, like when you weigh it up and you look at the 2 run-ins that I was. To what you lads were saying last night on the Fatback 4, like we do technically have the harder running, but Manchester Champions League sort of path, I think that's almost a leveler. And then you've got that sort of Mario where we're now playing them in the FA Cup semi-final. So like everything's completely in the melting pot. So you can't predict whether we come out with, as long as we come out with one of the big prizes, the league or the Champions League, I'll be happy. I'll take that with another domestic trophy. I'll take that. But one thing that's kind of in the back of my mind here is that we talk about City and all of the, they've won the league, several times. This will feel like us winning the league for the first time again after the 30 years because of the fact we couldn't celebrate it. And then you add for that the shit show from last season when everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And I think that potentially is the bit of motivation that we'll need to get over the line in the league. Champions League, more of a lottery for me, because you'd have to go through Bayern Munich over 2 legs and then you've got to face a really tough opponents in the final, much tougher than we had to play against Spurs. So I think the league is probably the most likely trophy for us this season, and I'll be absolutely ecstatic, irrelevant to the fact that I've missed every game bar the first one.
Phil, it's a long way to go. I think there's a possible 15 games to go in this season. And the point I was trying to make last night was embrace it. You're in it. you have to embrace it, you have to go for it. And I said, people think boldly and people think fair play to you last night. I said, I don't see who stops us. And the reason I don't see anyone that stops us is we've no time to think. We're literally going to pile into games every 3 days. Our squad is more or less fully fit. They're all killing each other to try to get in the squad. And if we keep the players fit, and Klopp has shown that he can rotate this squad really, really well on a game-to-game basis, I think the quality we have and the freshness within the squad we have, I just can't see anybody stopping us, Phil. And that might be like the chance that you're going to tell me I'm a dope, but that's just the way I feel about it. How do you feel?
I think it's going to be incredibly more difficult than we think to win 2 of the trophies. Don't mind 3 of them. Look, I think we'll win 1. When you're this deep into the 3 trophies, the likelihood is that you're going to win 1, right? I just hope it's not the FA Cup. If we have to win 1, I'd rather us win the Champions League or the league. No, honestly, like if you tell me which one do I want at this moment in time, I want the league. I want this team to have won and Klopp to have won 2 league titles. We always end up in the Champions League final every 10 years or so, right? So we'll see another one of them. But a league title, we went 30 years without winning a league title. It's so difficult to win them. The English league has been sports washed to bits. It's only going to get worse. The likelihood of us ever challenging realistically for a league title and in 4 to 5 years is very unlikely because of the amount of money that's going to get pumped into whatever sports washing conglomeration boys, Chelsea, and then you've got Saudi Arabia who's pumping money into Newcastle. We're going to stay up with this? I don't know. But for the Klopp era to have at least 2 league titles, he has a Champions League title. He's won of the domestic cups. To me, that's a much bigger thing. If we go on to win either of the other 2 trophies, I'll be absolutely ecstatic, right? Can we win the trade? Yes, we can. But honestly, I think if you look at the energies that they're going to put into this run-in, the energy is going to be focused on the league and the Champions League. The FA Cup, if it happens, will be just a case of on the day, the look of the draw on the day. That's basically what it is. But after that, the focus is going to be so much on the league. I think the players themselves want to win another league title. I think they know to beat City over 38 games from how far back they were, even in January this year. That level of achievement shouldn't be underestimated. We're talking about a team that's had billions pumped into it, washed under the books. They've set up offshore companies to handle image rights. They put in values in for what they're paying in wages, which is only half the value because they've sent the other half off in image rights that doesn't get attached. They've managed to get Qatar in on board in terms of changing the FFP rules so that they're the only team in Europe at the moment who meets all the conditions for the new version of FFP. after they've created their imaginary commercial deals to create this situation where they've got less than 65% of where they are. So look, lads, if we can win one of the big ones, I'm going to be ecstatic. If we win 2 of the big ones, then that to me is the cherry on the top of the cake of the Klopp cake. Because I don't think he's here after 2024, and I think to win one next year when this probably washes out a bit more is going to be a lot more difficult because the closer we get to him stepping away, the harder it's going to be. And look, at the end of the day, you've got Salah and you've got Mane, who I don't think Salah's going to be at the club at the end of this contract. I think he's going to see out the contract and go somewhere else. And that we're potentially looking into the last year of Mo Salah as well. So like, there's a whole load of things that are coming towards a natural end of their cycle, one way or the other. And I just think this is such a fantastic opportunity to grasp, but it requires nerves of steel and a will of iron. And and the biggest part that we've no control over, none whatsoever, is that bounce of the ball. There's an element. It's not luck. It's the randomness of football. Ultimately, it hits somebody.
Go back to the Sadio Mane near goal. All them, that was the difference, wasn't it? We off the line, quarter of an inch, whatever. It gets brought up every now and again. That was the difference between 1 point, losing us the league that season. VAR decision here and there, who knows what's down the line. VAR, dodgy penalty, send it off, whatever. That's the thing that I don't want decide. I don't want anything stupid like that deciding this in the next few weeks.
And as Phil was talking about cycles there. Like, if you look at the bigger picture altogether, I'm not sure how many years we actually have left of football in this capacity as the way it is, because it's all going to get muddled in a few years because the Super League is coming. And that is an absolute certainty. And if the Super League doesn't come, this fucking stupid, ridiculous new version of the Champions League that's being pushed on us is coming as well. So football is losing its soul. So Phil's talking about the league being sports washed. The sport is on the absolute brink of being completely sports washed itself, and not only by these oil states, but by the governing bodies that are supposed to be in charge. It's gotten completely out of control now, and I can't imagine we're too far away where there's Premier League games in New York, Premier League games in Jeddah, Champions League games in Jeddah, Champions League finals in Saudi Arabia. I know Jeddah is in Saudi, but Dubai, the Arab Emirates, all over the world. Like, football as we know it it's in its dying stages, if I'm being honest. Like,
well, Seany, can I just jump in? Because Gav, before, like, I don't know, I know you wanted to do this in there.
What I'm saying is the timing of this Phil, to kind of go out and say, oh, when it was still the Champions League, when it was still the Premier League, we got it done.
And I completely agree, Seany. That's. I just want to jump in and give you my ultimate loser of the season is football. I think this is it. I think this is the end of peak football, right? I think this is what we're seeing now. There's going to be no interest. There's going to be very little interest in the World Cup in the real TV markets. What it is will be a passing interest at Christmas time, right? Because they don't realise that football in December fits around everything else that goes on in the Christmas period. If you try to put on a spectacle competition in the middle of it, people just don't have the time, the will, or the interest to invest in that competition, right? In the Western Hemisphere. I'm not talking about now in the Southern Hemisphere, but again, if you try to take it to the proper Southern Hemisphere where it's there summertime, again, the interest is not there. International football is dying in its arse. FIFA want to do the World Cup every 2 years. To talk about building this World Club competition that's there, there's no real interest in it. The interest that remains at this stage, and the growing interest, is just pure club football. The days of the international game being representing the ultimate pinnacle of the game is over, right? The Champions League, what we have at the moment, is the best form of the Champions League. What they're about to create is just a shit version of the European Super League. It's a random competition, a random fixture generator with a knockout stage at the end. Like, this is what we're talking about: 18 teams in a league, and you play 10 fixtures. And who decides what the fixtures is? Random computer, right? What they're doing is they haven't understood the concept of oversaturation in the game, and we're about to step now from where competitions mean something, leagues mean something, the Champions League means something, into this strange sort of twilight zone where it's just games with a pinnacle match at some point in the future, where ultimately all these teams play against each other, and again, the top 3 or 4 are the ones that come out on top. And what's happening is the sports washing that's going to happen now, between now and the next 5 years, is just going to end up the game being 5 to 6 big teams, and that's it. That's it. And it's sad to see.
It's going to be like watching that. Remember that pre-season tournament that just came out? And I think Guinness actually sponsored it. What was it called? The Super Cup, was it?
The Super Cup, yeah, where it was played across different cities and stuff.
Yeah,
it was all the big teams, and you done like a mini league in pre-season.
Yeah,
you can't tell me like.
And it was in all, yeah, it was all around the globe essentially, wasn't it?
Imagine the Champions League without the logo, the anthem, the trophy. Man, what's a Super League? Like, it's just and like they said, the saturate. You're gonna need 60-team squads to play all these games. Like, I think. What the horse is bolted now. I don't think we can. There's nothing we can do. And to be honest with you, it's upsetting really, as someone who tries to watch as much football as I can. But I wouldn't have the same appetite for it. Like, there's no jeopardy. No jeopardy. That they talked about, they didn't want a Super League because of no jeopardy. But this new Champions League, there's going to be legacy teams thrown in. I don't like. It just seems like all the people with the money who run football don't understand the sport, and what they're trying to do is Americanize it to where there's no real jeopardy and all these big teams can maximize their income year after year, and ultimately football is not the loser. I think the everyday match going fan is, because they're kind of ripping the soul out of the game. And Gav, we talked about this on podcasts when the Super League came about, that football was very rarely, like, it seemed to be kind of hurtling towards a cliff edge, and I don't think there's anything we can do now. I think the train's about to go off the track and there's no bleeding brakes, and just to win everything now will kind of be like, wrap her up. Football, as we know it, in its pinnacle, was dominated by a Liverpool team that we all got to know and love, and after that, it's going to be shit. Like imagine, right? We could play Bayern in the Champions League semi-final. That's special because it doesn't happen that often. But imagine that's every week, every other week, this stupid drummed up version that they're going to give us. It's going to be shy.
I think, is it the second time we played, essentially? Because we played them the other year over the 2 legs, didn't we? But we hadn't played them for years before that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Played them since it's a semi-final of a European Cup we played them in, isn't it?
Yeah,
quarter-final.
No, a couple of years ago to quarter-final. I think it might be. We played them in a semi-final, maybe 84 or something like that.
I think it was in the lead into winning it in Paris. I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But Gav,
you're right in what you're saying. Like the thing for me is, like, it's not a sport anymore. Forget the idea that it's a sport. It's a business. It's a multi-billion-dollar business, right? And it's all about, you'll get things like, are them owners fit and proper? They don't really give a fuck if they're fit and proper, because if they come in and they bend rules to the absolute max and they pump a load of money in, all they really care about is, listen, is their TV money going up? Is there sponsorships around the grounds going up? Is there fucking this going up? That's all they care about. And this isn't look, we've had loads of conversations over owners of football clubs and if they're good, bad or indifferent. I seen a stat on Manchester United today. They reckon that the Glazers have taken over 2 billion quid out of Manchester United over the last 15, 16 years or whatever it is that they own them. But when you start doing World Cups in November and December, that's when you know it's over. Because I get the African nations usually do it in January. That's their thing, right? That's their thing. But the FIFA World Cup was always from around the 12th of June to the 12th of July or somewhere around that week. You know yourself, it's that month. And when you're doing this, you know it's gone, because you were taking any tradition of all the major footballing, all the footballing fucking leagues in the world, for the vast majority, right? Barring not being able to play in certain areas because of weather and how hot it is. I'm basically saying, fuck yous. We're going over here to play this World Cup, and if you don't like it, fuck yous. And you know what we're going to make you do on top of that? We're going to make you play our league right up on top of it, do a World Cup, and then we're going to make you bash through that league because we need you to get back on the straight and narrow come the following August. It's absolutely horrendous.
The bigger knock on is, like, and I'm not even joking saying this, and I mean this, I'm not even trying to be funny or anything. Like, you're going to kill kids' appetites to play the game.
It's already happening.
Football. And what's going to happen is kids are just going to go, I'm not watching the Super League. Do you know what I'll do? I'll go and watch these two fellas sitting in their bedrooms playing a FIFA tournament online where they have all the best. They have all the best players. They have Ruud Hulle. They have Maradona playing beside Ronaldinho, playing beside Mo Salah, playing beside a prime fucking Maldini who's beside a Van Dijk. Literal fantasy football stuff. And then they can finish that and go and just play it. They don't need to be professionals. They can go and play online and compete the same way. And esport will actually dominate that. So virtual football will overtake football as it is, because it's literally just going to be saturated to fuck. There's going to be no appetite to watch it or play it when you can just sit at home and do it yourself. And it's all like esports is booming across the board. Like, I have nephews who would rather watch people playing games than play games, and that's the way we're going. And people,
I mean, even betting companies have started like taking bets on these things and televise it and everything. It's crazy.
Like, everybody went mental at Florentino Perez when he went on El Chiringuito and talked about the Super League, everybody went absolutely spasmo because he went on and he told the truth. He turned around and he said, the attention spans of these kids can't be held anymore. They live in a digital age where they have access to everything at the touch of a finger. And what it is 20, 30-second clips, 1-minute clips. They don't want to watch matches for 90 minutes. They don't support football teams. They support football players. They can watch 30-second clips of Mbappe skinning a player doing a piece of skill going down the line with catchy music that'll catch their attention. Like, that attention span is gone. They've no appetite to sit and watch 90-minute games of football anymore because it's all being
on the flip side of that. I mean, I had the pleasure of taking my 10-year-old nephew to the Ireland game at the weekend, and I have to say, like, it watching a young lad sort of absorb a football match for 90 minutes and stand beside them and the shouting and the passion from a 10-year-old was like, just it filled you with optimism for the future.
Did you have your Euro 96 jersey on you?
No, I have my Belgium top on, but I have my Simon
Mignolet, long sleeved.
Go on, Migs.
Can I just say,
you can go on and watch the highlights of a game 10 minutes after it's been on.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, my nephew turned around to me and said, "There's nothing better than." Being 2 years, cousin Kobe said to me, "There's nothing better than watching a match in a football stadium," and he was absolutely spot on. And unfortunately, that from what Seany's saying, and I believe it, that's kind of a dying breed, unfortunately.
It really is. Dicko, I'll stay with you. Your winner, ultimately, of this season, who could it be?
Come the end of the season, I think, again, a lot of games to still play out, but I think Arsenal could end up coming out of this season as a significant.
I'm sick you didn't say Bill Kenroy. Go
on. Yeah, we'll come on to them a bit later when we talk about losers. I'm surprised by that, but yeah, I think Arsenal, they seem to have, and this has coincided with obviously other teams around them falling away, the likes of United, having a tumultuous season, and you never know what's going to happen with them 1 week to the next. But Arsenal seem to have, they've obviously kept their faith with Arteta. For many, the jury's still out a little bit on him as a manager. But he's definitely obviously made some of the tough decisions, and he's got a young squad of players who, you would expect now to be able to, without any distraction of Europe, secure that fourth place. And if they do secure that fourth place, I think even by their own standards and admission, they probably will have got back into the Champions League ahead of schedule, ahead of what they would have projected. They would have ousted, the likes of a United or Spurs, I suppose, as a direct rival, and they do need it. They need that Champions League football to keep that momentum going and the young players interested. So, I think from a really poor start to the season, probably wouldn't have predicted after a few games, but I think Arsenal going to come out of this season with the heads held high.
I spoke about Arsenal last night. We spoke in depth about the top four last night, so I'll stay out of this. Phil, Dicko says there, Arsenal, if they get into the top four, it's probably ahead of schedule, considering the manager change, the bad start to the season. Is that true though? Because was he a season and a half in the job before he starts?
Arsenal's a basket case at the moment. They remind me of us so much from say 2000. I don't even put United is bizarre because I still think, I don't know, I said it last week, I thought Arsenal were winners one of the week, they were losers another of the week, and my bit was they had so many games in hand that they couldn't throw it away. And then I looked at the league table lately, and all of a sudden those games in hand have disappeared and the other teams around them are catching them. And that was after they'd gotten 3 or 4, I think they had a 6-point lead at one stage.
They've still to play United at home and Spurs away.
Yeah, to me, I think that's where they blow it. Honestly, I think they're shit. When it comes to the big games, Arsenal have no bottle. Arteta's head is like a super duper galaxy brain version of Pep's. He overthinks. He even overthinks what he's going to do in the Jacks that morning before those games, because he's like, I'd say he's a deeply superstitious bloke and has about 11 million superstitions he has to do, and his head is wrecked before big matches because it's never worked before, and he's trying to work out what superstitions work this time around. And how do I, like, his head looks like boot polish as well. Look, there's just something about Arteta that I find that's deeply unlikable. And I hope he fails. Because do you know what else? Over the last 4 or 5 years, as fan media has grown, the Arsenal fan base is just, it was a parody, then it went beyond parody. It's just garbage. It's like they're now on one of those teams I'd love to see relegated. Villa is a team I'd love seeing relegated. Everton.
But hold on, you want everyone relegated, there'd be only 3 teams left in the league if we went by your rules.
And we get Borough back, then we'll be happy. Borough and Derby.
And anybody else that Terry Venables had an involvement with.
But no, honestly, I don't know. If I know this is sort of predicting who, if Arsenal get back in the Champions League, then the fair shout, Dicko, for Arteta being winner of the season from that perspective. But it doesn't come close to what we're doing. It's not even worthy. And I just think whenever, as I said, when the big games come on, they just crumble. Like you saw them with us, they just crumble. You know what I mean? They're a house of cards.
Yeah, but I think anyone coming up against, the likes of us or City, it's a bit of a different kettle of fish. I do fancy them to do enough against the likes of Tottenham and United in those games. I mean, there's going to be something gloriously ironic about them celebrating fourth and qualifying for Champions League when they spent all those seasons bemoaning the fact that they were only qualifying for the Champions League and doing nothing,
Exactly. And the thing is, like, I don't know whether they are much better now than when they were moaning about only finishing the top 4. Like, I still think they'd be pasted in a Champions League quarter final by any of the top sides. Yeah. And that's going to be the stick that they're measured with, because they want to get back to the days of bleeding Highbury when they were winning league titles and playing brilliant football. But like us, they need a Klopp, and there's only one. Like, I don't think they have enough to really compete. People are saying, well, they'll kick on next year. They won't. I can see them being in the top 4 unless they spend mad money. But look, everyone is going to do it. They're literally going to be in a market next year where there's going to be players who they go for, who Newcastle are going to say, we can have a bit of that. And they'll pay the money. So the players won't really give a shit, because they'll know that Arsenal being in the Champions League, look, yeah, I mean, my ambition is being in the Champions League. Am I going to win it playing for Arsenal? I don't think so. And I think that will be so that's where I agree that, yeah, they are a year ahead of schedule. I don't think they're ready to go toe-to-toe with the big boys yet. I genuinely don't, because they're still very much in the mix for that fourth. And like Phil says, those games in hand aren't worth the shite until you have points for them. And that's not guaranteed. The only saving grace is that Spurs seem to be a win-one, lose-one every week, and United are a complete basket case.
They're all oddballs. The three of them are all oddballs. I got an
email this morning off leading, yeah, man, Richard Arnold asked me, was I available for an interview for that job? that just seems to be how it is. Like, every single thing that's going on with United at the moment is playing out in public. It's bonkers. Yeah. It's mind-blowing. Yeah. I can't believe that they're on the stock exchange.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be that leaky.
And now Louis van Gaal is telling the world and telling Ten Hag not to go near them because they're just a commercial entity, not a football club. Yeah. And it's their own fault. But it's their own fault. I said this last week. They are publicly interviewing people, right? And at the same, publicly doing it on the internet, basically, right? In front of everyone. And they're literally trying to gauge the reaction to 2 or 3 candidates, and then that will just make them decide who they want as their manager, which is fucking insane. It's something, you know what they say, it's the lesser of 2 evils, it's the lesser of 3 evils in this case. Who makes the least impact when they get in the top 4, or who benefits the least? I think United out of the Champions League is huge again. This is Arsenal's 5th season they're in it, by the way.
I think if Harry Maguire gets an injury, United romp home into 4th.
Yeah.
I'm not even messing about that.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
But I think if you look, Arsenal haven't been in it in 5 years. Spurs need it badly because of what with the stadium and the COVID and stuff like that. And United always feel like they should be there, and the longer they're kept out of it, the better. It won't stop them spending, but it's entertaining. I think Arsenal are probably the pick, although I think Dicko has said it that they've bemoan and Seany they bemoan. Oh, we're only finishing 4th, and they wanted Wenger out. I think Wenger should have left Arsenal about 8 years before he did. But they did bemoan all that, and now they will literally be telling you, come the end of May, if they get 4th place, that Arsenal are the biggest club in England, and they're this, and they're that, and the other, and they're clearly not, because they're all fucking mental.
That's the thing with these winners and losers, though, Gav, is that like the one who could be the ultimate winner could just as easily be the ultimate loser. Like it's tightrope stuff for a lot of them. Like United, like the ultimate loser, there can only be really one. Really, I think that we'd all agree with. Really, to be honest,
for the season.
For literally the history of humankind.
This season.
Yeah.
It's Everton
Football
Club.
Like, yeah, forever.
Yeah. It's
because
Everton.
like if they lose this year, like and when I mean lose, I mean go down. Like they are proper fucking Reebok Stadium alive, Rev Gardy bleeding, absolutely Maggie Thatcher levels of in the mud.
Could it be like? Could it be like?
Said this to you last week, Gav.
Could it be
Everton go?
MK Blues? Could it be MK Blues?
It would literally be Merseyside Blue FC with no sponsor. They couldn't even get bleeding Joma to make kits for them. Like it would be literally. Honestly,
they'd be floating down the Mersey with that stadium.
And then you have the two fellas who are in serious bother with Russia. Like, literally, they could be scraping together bottle caps to buy the club on Merseyside because that's literally all it'll take. They are in serious shite.
So hold on. We've done your winner.
Yeah,
I think we should all just agree on who the fucking loser is. Just,
okay, no, that's what I was going to say to you because that suits me because it means we've only 16 minutes left. So we done Seany's winner. We done Phil. What did we do for you, Phil?
Mine is football. Football is the loser. Football
loser,
is the biggest loser. And I think it's a concept. I think it's a concept we all agree that football is lost at the moment. And I'm not talking about a loser. It's lost. It doesn't know what it is at this stage. And we're just saying now.
Are we doing your loser again?
No.
Just say Nero's playing a harp.
He's reiterating. He's trying to score points.
Here's our Graham with a quick reminder.
Like Seany's gone straight into
Nero's on the balcony playing the harp, and we're all looking up going, that's a great gig, and the whole place is burning around us. That's basically what's going on.
Dicko, I'm serious. Like the shite they're in if they stay up.
Yeah.
But if they go down,
yeah. I mean,
some of their players have no Champions League clauses in that squad. If you don't get in the Champions League, I can leave. What's going to happen if you end up in fucking the Championship in the Sky Bet? To be playing in the Justice Paint Trophy in a few years. Like it's fantastic.
I don't think many of them have those types of clauses in the contracts because I don't think they really kind of.
No, the worry for them is that they don't have relegation clauses in the contract.
Yeah.
So they can all sit there and go, "You're paying me. I don't give a fuck."
Yeah.
Everton are praying Putin drops a nuke just so that the season can be abandoned now at this stage and just call it where it is. Like honestly, this is it. They're hoping for another round of COVID or something. They're looking for divine intervention because. Let's be honest about it. Everton are the biggest basket case you've ever seen. Like just in general, they're a basket case. But this,
can we all agree we just do 15 minutes on Everton here and then we can go?
Yeah, why not?
Okay,
I mean, it's
great.
it is going to like. Let's just go back to the start of the season. Yeah, the whole kind of split fan base on Rafa. You know, them trying to bring themselves around. At least the half who were prepared to bring themselves around to try and back a manager, a Liverpool legend. Who led, their arch rivals to a European Cup and all that went with that. And, they get off to the kind of a bit of a decent start.
3 wins and a draw in the first 4.
Yeah, and the optimism is there. Some people who were doubters are starting to turn into believers, and then from there it just goes so horribly wrong. I mean, you take the whole kind of financial situation out of it a little bit, and just the pure footballing side of it has just gone like progressively worse as the weeks have gone by. And this is the problem that they've got right now. They're playing the worst football that they've been playing all season, and it's all going in one direction. And there's no. You can talk about the other teams that are down there. They've all had their kind of moments in the season. Even recently, Burnley have had a little run of results and have picked up. Everton seem to be. They don't seem to be able to get out their own way at the moment. And that from a footballing sense is the thing that would alarm you the most. And then you align that to the run of fixtures that they've got coming up, and you struggle to see where the points are going to come.
I don't. I see Brendan Rodgers giving them all the points he needs.
Well, that really would piss a lot of Liverpool fans off. I would imagine if it's someone like Brendan Rodgers who comes to their rescue. I mean, it was bad enough watching Newcastle's pathetic kind of attempt at playing out a 0-0 when they were only playing against 10 men the other week. It was it was ridiculous. But look, if this culminates in Everton going down this season, the type of season that they've had, like they may as well sell this DVD in the Anfield Club shop next season. It will be bought.
You'd raise a few more quid for them, wouldn't you? And the shop in Liverpool won. You know the way it's Liverpool won. You know the way it's Liverpool won. Liverpool won, right? In Liverpool won, they have the Liverpool shop, and it's Liverpool
Everton
1
2,
and Everton 2, right?
Yeah.
Are they gonna put a DIV above the 2, so it's Everton Division 2? But just to let you know, right? Because Dicko, you love talk of a Merseyside power shift. You love that talk, don't you? Ma Dicko loves it especially, right?
Yeah.
And, but let me just tell you what happens here. After 4 games this season, Everton had 3 wins and a draw. Okay? 10 points. Since then, okay? So that's first 4 games, right? Since then, they've played 23 games. Okay? They've won 4. Okay? They've drawn 3. And they've lost 16. Since the first. They've picked up 15 points in their last 23 games in the league. That's how bad they've been. And I don't know, is it that bad that they could just be literally all gone? They could literally fall to absolute pieces if they get relegated. Because I think there's, like Seany's saying it a while, I think Phil agrees, Dicko agrees, but there has to be a big chance here that they go down and it just absolutely falls down around them.
16, 17 got Sunderland were in the Premier League. They're mid-table in League One now.
Yeah. And
the thing is, if they go down, they are literally they're on the brink of being hit. Now I don't know whether the EFL is different from the Premier League, but this sustainability thing that they have where you can't make a successive loss over 3 seasons. If they stay up, they're going to be hit with that next year. And who knows what that's going to be? That could be points deduction. And I'm not. This is not just a kind of throwaway thing. They're in genuine bother. They're in serious bother. And they're literally not the way you used to collect the things off the top of the cans, like the little clips.
Mm.
And if you spend how many of them, you get a wheelchair. They're literally going to be collecting them to finish this stadium. And they might build a stand out of it. You never know.
Well, they'll have to build something, won't they, to block them from seeing Anfield. Because if Anfield's a bit higher up in this, they'll be able to see Anfield.
You'll have to sell that big bleeding porta cabin they put at the edge of the yoke to stop them seeing the main stand. They are in serious bother. Now, someone might come in and buy them, but Premier League have basically just shown now, all right, no more Saudis coming in. That's the end of that. We're not having that anymore. So, I don't know. It could get really, really bad, genuinely. And I just hope Amazon are in the wings waiting to put 1,500 cameras around Finch Farm Stadium and just giving us literally the greatest season of TV that we've seen since the fourth season of True Detective, because I would absolutely fucking indulge in that. They could make it a 30-episode season, 2.5 hours long. I would literally watch every single episode twice.
Could you imagine them? Could you imagine
I
them
watch
going
it
down?
dubbed in Russian.
Could you
Just for
imagine
hours
them
and off.
going by the park end with the Oscar on the top of a bus? It'd be fucking deadly, wouldn't it? An Oscar for best documentary is the Ev, and Bill Conroy on the top of a bus, and everyone shouting at him, "Where's the Oscar money, Bill?" It'd be fucking brilliant. Phil,
Get Tony Bellew to direct it, because he has the acting chops. He was in Rocky Balboa, he's in one of them super films, wasn't he?
They could be daft enough to sign up to something like that, you know, if they went down and they call it going back up, and it'd culminate in them getting relegated again. That's how mad they are.
They're absolutely mental. Tony Hibbert narrating it. I'd love Tony Hibbert to narrate the whole thing. Phil, like, in all seriousness though, you look at Bolton, Derby, Sunderland, even the likes of Portsmouth, who were in the Premier League and then just fell like a stone. You've seen it happen. Sheffield Wednesday, Forest, loads of them that have gone out of the top division and just disappeared. It doesn't matter how big they are. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I'm talking about, when I think of Everton, I think of Sheffield Wednesday. Sunderland. Big enough clubs. Leeds, 16 years. Yeah. Phil, with the losses they have incurred, with the issues that their owners currently have with what's going on in Russia and the Ukraine, the amount of money they're paying this squad compared to what they're bringing in, and the possibility of going down and just being caught in an absolute dogfight in the Championship. How far do you think they could fall here?
Hopefully they go out of business. Honestly, I'm not going to even fall back. I genuinely hope they liquidate, because that to me would be the ultimate hilarity in this whole thing, right? Because their fans only have this people's club. There's nothing endearing about Everton as a football club.
They have the Moyes mural though in the Boozer.
No, but this is what I'm saying.
It's the best thing I've ever seen in football.
They spent their time from the mid-90s on encouraging this idea of the dogs of war, where they just go around kicking lumps out of players and hoofing the ball down the length of the pitch. No game plan. That was Joe Royle's dogs of war. They won an FA Cup. That was like so long ago. What's it, 1994? Since 95. Then, Blackburn have gotten promoted to the Premier League, won it, come runners up, vanished, gone out of business, been owned by a chicken group, and is somewhere now around the middle of Manchester, right? And Everton are still there, doing nothing, almost being relegated every year. So it's about time they just go. Coventry. Somebody's mentioned Coventry there. Coventry's a classic example. In the 80s, everyone will remember Coventry in the 80s, right?
Steve
Grisovich, who was a Liverpool goalkeeper, of course, and Keith Houchin up front in the 1986-87 FA Cup.
But then in the 90s, you had Peter and Love, Darren Huckabee.
Yeah. I have all these lads. Robbie Keane.
Paul Telford.
Don't forget Robbie Keane. Right? Craig Bellamy. They were a club, right? And they always tried to play football. And then they just vanish. And they're gone.
Well, if you look at what happened, Coventry are at the move from Highfield Road to the Ricoh Arena, lose the Ricoh Arena because of financial problems, right? End up having to play their league games in St Andrews in Birmingham, right? Northampton and most recently at Birmingham City's ground, St Andrews. Then they're back at the Ricoh Arena because it's called something else now, was taken over by someone, and they're letting them lease it. And they're actually not doing too bad in the Championship at the moment, Coventry. But I think Coventry went down around 1999, somewhere around that time. So you're looking at,
Gordon Strachan was the manager.
20 odd years they're gone. And they're still scratching around in the Championship with no ground of their own.
Nothing.
And Highfield Road wasn't the biggest ground in the world, but they swapped that 20,000 seater stadium for
Everton are building an underwater stadium. Right? That's Everton in a nutshell.
I know, it's crazy.
The only team to watch to find the Nemo and think that's a great idea to build a stadium out of that. We'll build one down there and be great.
I think about clouds. In the worst case scenario, the people at Liverpool are going to have a new aquatic centre down on the dock.
Yeah,
new Rainbow Rapids.
Yeah,
imagine the size of the slide they could get off the side of those stadiums. But honestly, if you took Everton and put them in League One, they just fit. The stadium fits with the look of it. The people fit with the look of it. It's perfect. It's perfect symmetry, and that's where they
I think
deserve
they'd
to
have
be.
some great days out. So I think they'd actually, there'd be an element of enjoyment there.
The
They
only
wouldn't have
thing
to
is,
play
it'd
us
wreak
twice a
havoc with
season
it.
as well.
It'd wreak havoc with our Champions League schedule if they were playing midweeks in the Championship. You couldn't have the 2 nights of games on in the same night in Liverpool.
Yeah.
That's
You
very
wouldn't
true,
get a taxi home for loving our money on the Champions League.
No. You have to bring a fold-up moped with you.
So as a prediction, but I don't think they go down.
I agree with you.
When you look at the absolute shite around them, right? Like as I said to you last week or the week before last, this league is dirt. If you take away Liverpool, City, and Chelsea, the rest of it's fucking shite, right? You've got United, Arsenal, and Spurs, who will one of them will fall across the 4th place line, and the other 2 will fall into 5th and 6th, and the rest is just cabbage water. And you get to the bottom, and it's the sludge at the end of the cabbage water. It's like it's like when you come across a pond and you put your foot in, you have to throw your shoes away because it stinks, right? And you never get the stink off it. That's what the rest of the Premiership looks like, and they're just part of it. Like they're part of a collective of fucking pond scum. It's just disgusting. It's dirt, and sadly, there's worse teams than them. Look at the teams that are bottom of the league. Norwich haven't won a game in 3 years or something. Right? Yeah.
They'd actually got. I think they got a win and a draw in the first couple of games, and the Dean Smith then's gone horrendously wrong since then. But the thing about it is, like, I just don't see Burnley getting the goals, even though they've games in hand over Watford. Watford are just below Everton. We play them at the weekend. Everton are. I can't remember who Everton play at the weekend. Are they going back?
Watford are a funny team for us.
They're playing West Ham away, but then they
play Burnley a couple of days later away.
Burnley. That will tell us an awful lot. I think.
But I think
Burnley, Burnley are generally up for a dogfight. Everton don't see it, and I think that game will be pivotal. Not just the result. The result obviously be all that matters at the end of the day, but just to see how the two sides operate in that game will tell us an awful lot, I think.
Yeah, well, I said it last night. I think the next 3 is West Ham away, Burnley away, Manchester United at home. And I genuinely think if they lose all 3 of them, Everton will go down. Because I think that'll be the breaking point. If they go and get beaten twice away from home, especially against Burnley, and they say, right, we need to do something here against United, and they get beaten, I think they will just be. That'll be you just when teams just have the look off them where you're going, they're not getting none out of these last 6 or 7. So we'll have to wait and see. Right, we have to go. It's 22:59. We have done an hour. I told you it'd be an hour. I'm struggling badly.
Very impressed.
Shawnee, anything else before we go?
No, all good. Enjoyed that actually. Us being the ultimate winners and Everton being the ultimate losers is like some sort of dream world universe scenario that we find ourselves in coming into April, and it's all reality. So it starts on Saturday and it doesn't end. It could end in 18 months' time because honestly, 12:30 away to Watford, and it's just a rolling stone from then. And
home to Watford.
Hopefully, it ends up on someone's shoulders in the middle of the Champs-Elysees with number 7. Yeah. Paying €15 for a bottle of Heineken. I'll do it. I don't mind, honestly.
You'd be in little going rash on a load of gear.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Phil, anything else before we go?
I'm going to disappoint everyone. I've no mad sport of the week. I was too busy being a father this weekend and not paying attention to sport. So that's sadly, folks. But I did fill out my press accreditation for the World Games to see if I get accredited as a journalist. Yeah, and if I do, I'm seeing if I can get sponsorship to go over to the World Games for the 2 weeks in Birmingham, Alabama. Me and Neil are going to go and do live broadcasts.
Okay. Don't send the footage to me because I'm not putting it on this fucking channel.
That's going to be like the Midnight Express. That
I'm telling you.
Nino's entering. I told him in the movie.
What was that film where Bruce Willis had to get a fella so far because it was 13 blocks or something it was called, and he had to get him to the police station through all sorts of mayhem. That'd be like Phil bringing Neil to the World Games. But
he's in the moving archery. He's one of the targets in the moving archery. You got to watch for his dip and his duck.
Jesus Christ. Phil will be back next week for some fucking weird sport that everyone knows about 6 years, but he's only copped the job over the weekend. I'll tell us all about it.
Nobody seen the dog running in the American Kennel Club. That was unique. The lads
the World Games though is absolutely fucking amazing news. Dicko, anything else before we go?
Oh, just to say, bit like Seany. I mean, we're going into April, but this thing could run all the way up until the end of May. You know, we're looking at 2 months. You know, a lot of teams' seasons are ending or have ended around now. You know, we generally in years gone by would be going into April trying to secure top 4. I mean, this is just unprecedented, and openly admit that I'm one of the Paris 5 who've pre-booked and ready to rock and roll when it comes round to the end of May.
The Paris 5. I hope that doesn't end like. Usually when you put something on like that, you're trying to get out of prison for 25 years.
Interpol will be arresting us on arrival with a name like the
Paris 5.
Someone ring Daniel Day-Lewis there. Tell him you have a job for him. That is it. That has been Winners and Losers, and we'll have loads of stuff for you during the week. Don't forget Féileacáin, our charity, and we keep saying it. Go to the link in the description. Donate if you can. If you can't, spread it, share it amongst all your family, friends, colleagues, mates in chats, wherever it might be. If you're all in chats, if you're in a chat with 20 people and you all put a quid in, it's 20 quid towards Féileacáin. You can do that. And as I said, the link is in the description. Go and check it out. I'm struggling badly. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, but I'll absolutely do my best to be with you at 2 o'clock tomorrow. We will have a show on Wednesday night, midweek fix. We should have something Thursday and Friday as well. We have a night off tomorrow, Tuesday, as normal. Anything you want to say to us, any feedback whatsoever, stick them in the comments below after the show, and we will absolutely get to them. Do you know what Everton remind me of before we go?
Paris 5, Birmingham 2. That's going to be the scoreline of this summer.
Come here.
That's the new Super League.
Do you know what Everton remind me of? It just copped it. I seen a video on YouTube earlier. It was Celine Dion behind the scenes when she made the video for the song It's All Coming Back to Me Now, and she's in this castle and it's all falling down around her and she's trying to be cool and pretend it's not happening, and that's Everton. They're trying to sing their way out of this while the castle absolutely collapses. Check it out. Celine Dion, absolute fucking belter of a tune, by the way.
Change that to the intro instead of that playing whack balls.
She'll do us.
Can you get Mohammed Jogee to just have sun falling down randomly beside that bus for the next one?
Oh yeah, I'll do my best. Oh yeah, cause Son did fall over, didn't he, when a ball
randomly
whenever went near him. So there you go. We got Celine Dion and everything in there tonight. That has been it. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.